devotees of. Now we are going to start today's Dhamma and Dharma program. And the United Sangha Council welcome you all for this monthly program, which try to learn and share the teachings of the Buddha on certain topics. And so today's for the program, I would mention the names who are in the panel. Our today Vandana would be conducted by Venerable Lobsang Geshe Dharge, and meditation would be conducted by Venerable Yogavachara Rahula. And Venerable Sutadhara and Venerable Kamalasiri would be the speakers, and also Venerable Geshe would be a speaker representing Tibetan tradition. And so I will welcome you all and all the listeners and who participate with this program today. And now first item is to pay homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And that would be led by Venerable Geshe Lobsang Dharge. I invite you, Venerable.
Venerable Nagagagi is there. So Nagagagi, you like to pray or let me do it?
Yeah, Venerable Nagagagi.
Okay.
Let's see if Venerable Nakagaki is ready.
We cannot hear you. You are muted.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Very good to see you, Venerable Nakagaki. Now that you are well after going through the surgery. So if you are
my arms are not good, but my voice I can use still.
Then Venerable Nakagaki.
Okay. So yeah. Okay, I'll just do the maybe Japanese chanting of the basically three refuges. Take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Then please join me in meditation and place your palms together and bow your head. With sincere mind and respect, I take refuge in the Buddha, the awakened one to the truth. respect and gratitude, I take refuge in the Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha. With sincere mind and respect, I take refuge in the Sangha, the people who practice the Buddha Dharma. Sadhu, sadhu, namaste.
Very much, Venerable
Thank you.
Nakagaki. And we are very happy to see him again after going through a kind of surgery, and hope quick recovery completely to join.
Thank you so much.
Now meditation will be conducted by the Most Venerable Yogavachara Rahula Thera.
Okay, friends, let's try to sit straight and relaxed. And just rest your attention behind the eyes. And from that point behind the eyes, try to mentally feel the outline of the body, the general sense of your head on top, the shoulders and arms, the sides, the buttocks and feet, pressing the seat or floor. Then take a few deep, slow breaths. Try to take about 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in your lungs for 2 or 3 seconds if you can, and feel the relaxing contractions of the out breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. And then the next in breath. Just take several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Just continue that on your own for a minute or two, just developing a concentration in the breathing body. Or if the deeper breathing, you get tired of it, just let the breathing return to its uncontrolled rhythm, but continue to feel it. And just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. And brief pauses between the breaths to feel the sitting body. This breathing is going on within this larger sitting body. Just try to feel the subtle life force vibration. You might even feel the heart beating along with the breathing. Just relaxing the body and mind with each out breath. Just feeling the last bit of air go out to the lungs with each out breath. And the life-giving oxygen, life force coming back in with the in breath. And just knowing that this body lives on oxygen and life force being breathed in. The toxins of carbon dioxide, other blood impurities breathing out on the out breath. If you can feel the heart beating also, just knowing that this body lives with the heart beating, oxygen going in. It feeds all the cells of the body. Just knowing that if this heart beating or the breathing would stop for more than a couple of minutes, this body would start dying. Actually, the only thing certain is in life is death. Life is not certain. It can be taken away in the blink of an eye from many causes, conditions, causing this heart to stop beating or the breath to stop moving in and out. Even though death is certain, the time is not certain. There's a saying that tomorrow or the next life, we don't know which will come first. Many people have plans for the future, but they're dead by the next morning. Just looking within yourself, if that was to happen, would you be ready for that? When the breath goes out of the body, if you fail to come back in, would you be able to accept that? Is there any unfinished business in the life that you would cling on to, would cause you to come back again? There's someone you haven't forgiven. You're still blaming yourself for things you might have done. and still feeling the heartbeat, the breathing. And even though this physical body may die, this mind still has karma to work out, will go on again, seek out another life in order to work out its unfinished business. So much of one's life, especially the later years in the life, and then the younger years, preparation for that moment of death. But actually, there's two levels of death. One is the physical death of this body, which is the common meaning of death. And in the Aryan language, the language of Dhamma, death is death of the ego, death of greed, hatred, and delusion. So actually a meditator can die before they die. The Buddha and Arahant actually died before their physical body died. It means they died to craving and wanting even a next life. That is the real preparation for death. Okay, now friends, let's take another deep, slow breath. Gradually come out of the contemplation. So we can now continue our discussion and exploration of other ways of preparing the mind for and body for death with our next speakers when they're ready.
Venerable Dhammaloka, can you unmute?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Venerable Rahula, for conducting meditation on death. And by practicing meditation on death, we could reach to deathlessness. So now today's topic also related to last month's topic. As an extension, we are going to talk about preparing for fearless death and favorable rebirth. And that's what we are going to talk today on. And now, Venerable Bhante Tapovane Sutadhara Hamduru, Tapovane Sutadhara Thero, would I would like to invite him to talk something about what the Buddhism in the sutras and other places says about this topic, how to get prepared for fearless death, and as a result, how we can reach to a favorable birth according to early texts and early teachings of the Buddha. Venerable Sutadhara.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable Dhammaloka, dear Venerable monastic colleagues and friends in the Dhamma. If we have been listening to different traditions, the theoretical explanation given about death and how it should be handled. Then just to remind some of those and just to prepare all of us to remind ourselves to get into this discussion, that I would like to draw your attention to one of the early sutras in Anguttara Nikaya. That is it's a very interesting dialogue between a person who has gone from this world to meet the Yama, the head of the hell, or head of the person who handles who interviews the people who come there. That it's in that it's we call it Devaduta Sutta. In Anguttara Nikaya we find that too, and also a few other places, that death is considered as a divine messenger. The divine messenger is one of the divine messengers, that when someone goes from this world to meet the Yama, the head of the hell, then he would ask that, my friend, didn't you see the first messenger, second messenger, third messenger, and the fourth messenger? That both messengers are the birth, disease, decay, and death. And then the death is considered one divine messenger. Then most of the people, they don't remember, and then sometimes they will say a few things and say that I don't remember. And then the Yama, the head of the world of the hell, that would say that, okay, didn't you see the birth? Didn't you see the second messenger, the old age, and the third messenger, the disease, and fourth messenger, the death? So then mostly sometimes what happen is that then the Yama would remind them, okay, did you by seeing these messengers, didn't you think about focusing your attention on preparing yourself to face all these just by doing something good, meritorious actions. Meritorious actions, if you have done any meritorious action, then the person will be able to go beyond with no problem to the heavens. This is the way that we think that for day-to-day people to prepare themselves for death. Then for the people who are on the path, seriously meditating, and then for those, I think that I remember that Anathapindika Sutta and all other sutras mentioned by our learned monks with their extensive experience. There, the Buddha or a disciple would bring their attention into directly to handle this pain in the body, and then how they feel, and then how is it is just a guide. It's a more like a guided meditation on death, or guided meditation on pain. So those are that is the direct way of handling that the death, and how to face death fearlessly. And for the normal person that who haven't had that preparation, is to bring their attention into the good that they did. And then there are stories we find that the last moment of their lives, people started reminding them in their the people prepared themselves. Just take one example, just assumed example, that also historically we will find other stories, but I just want to say that, okay, assume a person prepares an index of all the meritorious actions that he or she had done, and then the people can remember just read those or remind them, okay, you have done this kind of meritorious actions. The whole idea of this near death, the religious rituals or religious ceremonies, is to bring the person's attention to focus on the meritorious actions. In that way, the greed, hate, delusion are going to be just submerged, then controlled, and more the greedlessness, also angerlessness and delusionlessness is there, and they're coming into action. So that's the whole idea of this handling near death experience. At the same time, I just want to just give my observations on that in a situation like that, persons, not only the person who is going to die is very much troubled emotionally. Of course, all the person's relatives, the close relatives, they are very much disturbed by this whole experience. They are already grieving, and then they don't know how to handle maybe life affairs right after their main person in the main pillar of their life has gone. And then for those also, there are some that we can see in the tradition, that how people prepare themselves, and also that mainly this is about that how our the clinical depth handling. When we go on to this the earlier, that when Venerable Yogacharya Rahula mentioned about how to focus our attention on meditation, and when he guided it, it's about the breath, and then the breath is also showing us how we are our momentary breath, that is the micro level. And then if we focus our attention on that, and then develop our mindfulness in there, then it is it's the real direct way to handle the depth, and to face depth with no fear. That's because there is no certainty about the person who hasn't attained at least stream enterer level. That there is no guarantee for others. The stream enterer level person, or sotapanna or shrotapanna person, other than a sotapanna person, or who has achieved all the other levels of enlightenment, then well, all the others are vulnerable to see this situation. That is why always we encourage, also the tradition encourages that always do good, do meritorious actions. That's when you do meritorious actions, then if you constantly do meritorious actions, there is a chance that there can be that last thought is going to be a pure one, or maybe the remembrance of some of those good deeds, or maybe start doing more serious, grave, or memorable meritorious actions. Then it is also it is more likely that these kind of things can occur, come into the memory. So those are the when we categorize the karma, we have those yabbahula, that is what we have done constantly, or what and yaggaruka, that's more serious, more heavy meritorious deeds. This which brings like it is like that how we remember the things in our life, in our any other life. Sometimes when we do something good with many difficulties, at a time that we are seriously depleted with economic resources or health resources or anything, then well, those during that time when we do something good, it's always coming into our memory. So the same, that is just one other example. I just wanted to bring these things into this discussion, and then Bhante Kamalasiri can get all these case or attested cases or other things into our discussion. And with that note, I just want to finish my presentation. Then thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Sutadhara. And now Venerable Geshe Dharge would talk about the same topic preparing for a fearless death and a favorable rebirth, what would you, Venerable Geshe, think about, according to Tibetan tradition and Sanskrit tradition, how it would be? Please let us know what do you think about this topic according to Tibetan and Sanskrit tradition. Venerable Geshe.
Paying homage to Three Gems and all respect to Sangha and here, brother and sister. So, and let me see. So the what is life and death process that we already cover from last class by Sling Tongpo Rinpoche. So today I'm going to talk exactly that fearless death. So first, all this my topic summarizing for these quotes. If you are in fear of death, fearless death will come. This is my summary of today's topic. And as last our panel, the Bande Rahula mentioned that, so we don't have to wait until today for preparing practice. We should do practice right now. So this is exactly we said it. So therefore, it's begin with having the fear of death. So if you think about the death, because death is certain as we meditate today, and if you more think about death, that's kind of like let you understand what you need to do. So that makes you perfect the fearless death. So because fearless death means when you're dying more peace mind. That's all happening. So, and then therefore definitely the beginning parts or motivation, if you more meditate with the death of impermanence, that brings to some kind of fear. So part of that, actually, we're not just only thinking I'm dying. This is not useful. Just thinking I'm dying is kind of like it's no meaningful. We should think I'm dying with having a lot of negative karma. That makes you something. Or I'm dying without accumulating all this virtue and merit. So that's you can, if you think with this combination of these two, dying with or a lot of negative karma or dying without accumulating merit. So either things that let you make your meaningful life to thinking death. So that motivated to do some kind of good deeds, do more better practice because of this thinking. That's exactly the fearless death will comes. So it says in our culture, the Mahayana or special the Tibetan tradition, most of our masters saying that all this your life should preparing for next life, not need to do separately practice for dying. As well as you preparing for next life, it's included to fearless death. So part of that, I will show how our master is saying here that best Dharma practitioner face death joyfully. The middling practitioner face death without fear. And even the lesser practitioner face death without regret. So if you are not one of those, then you are not Dharma practitioner. So therefore, at least Dharma practitioner must die without regret. So all this comes when you do prepare for next life. Next life, either high realms or next high rebirth or next life nirvana, right? So here, the best Dharma practitioner face death joyfully means how? Because they achieved, well, their practice in this life, they achieve many high realizations. And then when they die, they feel going like the son going for father's home. When son goes to father home, there are no fear. So they will feel like this, just changing body, because I'm the not end. I'm carrying these all good qualities, which I achieved within this life. So finding next other room or next other body, so there are no fear. So because you are you achieve very high realizations, therefore said face death joyfully. As I said, son goes to the father's home. That's how we feel it. That's the great practitioner. So, and then second one, middling practitioners without fears. So how come the face death without fear? So again, even you not attend all this siddhi or achievement, or you not accomplish every like a high realizations, but whole your life, at least you dedicate for doing good deeds, and then accumulated a lot of merit, and then generate compassion. All this you do, and then when you die, then you feel not fear, because when you die, you do very good practice as a compassion practice. At the moment dying, your whole mind with the compassion, as well as your mind is with the compassion to thinking all sin and being free from suffering, then there are no way to have fear. There are no, because the fear is that when we are separating from our own body, that causes us fear. When we separating for all this my relative, and there's all this wealth that I collected in this lifetime, so I cannot let it go. So that makes you fear, right? So as well as have a compassion, or like any other like a loving kindness, or all this positive mind while you're dying, at the moment to die, so there are no way to have fear. That's we call peaceful. That's at least, that without fear means that. And then a lesser practitioner even face without regret, because even I'm not achieving anything, even I'm not great practitioner, but as well as I follows Buddha's instructions, and then as much as I practice my best, and I almost not created any negative karma in this lifetime, right? So, and then I help how much I have a capacity. I help as much as I can. So that's thought, like this is the only we can do in this lifetime. So then what you done, then there are no regret to die. As I says, all this comes when you think, when you're preparing for next life better, right? Next life, because if you're preparing for next life better, then what is the next life? The cause of the high rebirth. At least it says 10 virtues practice. And you try to engage the 10 virtue practice as much as you can, because you wish to have high rebirth. And then all entire life, you are engaging 10 virtue practice, good moral ethics, and then there are no way to regret. There are no reason to have a regret. So that's how we said it. So, and then repeating again, if you are not one of these, when close to die, then consider that you are not good practitioner. So therefore, don't, before have a regret, you should start right now, do any practice for preparing better life in the future that makes you either death, joyfully death, or without fear or without regret. So let me talk the technique, how we can do this. So here we call the 5 strength or 5 power that we use to our day by day, and then makes this kind of 3 peaceful death. So the 5 power or 5 strength, there are 2 kind of things. While you're alive, you use for your daily life. All this 5 power, what I'm going to mention, this is all combination of every practice, all practice, right? So, and all practice is combined in this power, 5 power. If you do every day this 5 powers practice, then day to week, week to month, month to year, and year to up to death, you are continuous practicing. So, and then this 5 power, if you continuous practice, then while you're dying or moment to die, then another use again this 5 power to peaceful or having this kind of 3 goal. So, and then I did not count it here, the achieve nirvana, right? Next life, we could be achieve nirvana, but it's too high for us as an ordinary being, right? So therefore, it could be included in faces day joyfully, right? Okay, let's say, what is the 5 power? The first power is called Asaya Bala, right? The Bala is the power. So the strength of intention, the intention is very important. So intention drives your all this practice. Intention, like a condition it to all this your practice to what result we should have it. So therefore, as well as like as soon as when you wake up from your bed, right, morning earlier, open your eyes, right away, set it up intention perfectly. This is the first power, right? The intention perfectly. There are many ways you can set it up intention. So one thing is you can set it up, say, today, today I have only 24 hours, right? Once 24 hours gone, then I cannot get it back. Within 24 hours, let's say 8 hours, I'm sleeping, right? Now how many hours left? So and then at least, and then I have a lot of another 8 hours, I have to go work. And how many you left for your practice, right? So, and then even you don't have a separate time for practice, then you can intend it, say, even I go to my job, my work, I do my best to do my good deeds and staying more positive. And then even if I sleep, that sleeping, you can also make, you can make it like meaningful. Like before you sleep, like then you can like think compassion or loving kindness or Buddha or something like Dharma's deeds. You can think it on, you can meditate on, then while you sleep, all the sleeps turn into the virtues. You can make all this 24-hour accumulating virtues with the intention, right? So I'm going back, intention, as well as you wake up, you intended that today, so I'm going to make my life is meaningful. So my life is meaningful. So therefore, as I'm making my life meaningful is like benefiting to self and other. And what is the best way to benefiting self other? I will engage 10 virtue practice for exactly try my best to engage 10 virtue practice. And I never shows anger to others. and I, like as you can also intend more like this, I never being jealous to others, never competition with others. All this you can set it up as morning, before you get out from your bed. So carefully we set up the intention. And then after that, it's called Sukla Bija Bala, the strain of the white seed. What is the white seed? It's all your practices white seed. After you intended, you will get up, you're washing the face and everything you've done, and you breakfast. Then you can usually do offering, prostration, and a little bit meditating before you go to work or any your activities. So, and then meditate compassion. This is the important. If you meditate compassion every day, and time to the death, that at the moment of death, compassion will become, because you will get very familiar with the compassion, because every day you meditate. Otherwise, the moment of death, the consciousness is very weak, cannot do anything with it. So even we cannot think it, that much weak, the moment of death. So, but when you get very familiar or habit with having that kind of compassion or loving kindness mind, it is popped it up. It automatically comes without any effort. You're dying with the compassion. This is the best to fearless and best to have next life rebirth better, right? So therefore, white seed, all these other activities included, but if you are inner, the loving kindness or compassion, every day meditate. So whether it's effect to other or not, but at least you everyday meditators help you. This every day doing it will help you at the moment of death. And then go Abhyasa Bala, the strength of repeated practice or familiarizations. So that white seed with the word compassions, that you repeatedly, again and again, even you go to like a store, you are like a walking outside, you are in a restroom, you can think compassion. Sitting in the restroom is the best time to think compassion. Right? People are reading magazine and this and that. It's not necessary. You sit it there and then you generate compassion, you think it. So this is a very good time to think the generating compassion or loving kindness. That's the repeatedly, where you have a white seed, the compassion, that you have to repeat it again and again, makes it familiar. That really help you at the time. And then fourth one, you call Dusana Bala, the strength of the remove obstacle, that counted purification. Purified your negative every day. You don't actually, the purification practices, we are not waiting like some special day or some special week, because every day we are creating negative, no matter how we know or not know, we are creating negative karma. So as well as we create negative karma, we should do purification practice every day. Before you go to bed, remember what you did, good things, what you did, bad things, and good that you always remember what you did, negative karma. So then the purified with the full power, right? And then doing it again every day. At the moment, also it reminds you to purify it. That will bring spiritual, fearless joy. Fearless death. And the last one is, we call Parinidhana Bala, that's then a prayer. It's part of dedication, right? And the end, you also dedicate it as you intended the morning. So you dedicate all sentient being free from suffering. By this my virtue, or by this my virtues, may I achieve enlightenment for sake of all sentient being, or my virtues help like a benefit to all sentient being. They have a good health and free from suffering, whatever. That way you can dedicate. If you do these 5 things every day, from morning to end, the morning intention to end, before you go to bed, the end, the prayer, the dedication, that let's repeat you every day. they don't have to worry about the death, don't have to worry about the next life rebirth. So otherwise, we are nothing to do anything in the daily life, busy with something else. And when death comes close, then too much worry, it's too late, too late. Even people cannot help you. You cannot help yourself because you are all this body and minds getting weak, and people cannot help you because if people give you advice, you cannot hear that. You cannot want to listen it because it's very close to die is happening that. But therefore, helping yourself is doing practice, this 5 practice every day. That makes you face death joyfully or without fear or without regret. That's how we need to go. Okay, so sorry, I took a little bit over time, so I'm going to stop here.
Thank you, Venerable Geshe Tharge Tubsan from Tibetan tradition and Sanskrit tradition. And so actually, in even Pali tradition, there is a stanza called saying, Punyani patiganhantu piyang nyati vaswagatang. When you are dead and gone, your own good karmas, positive karmas would welcome you to a heavenly state or higher state. So thank you very much again, Venerable Geshe, and you would be talking again soon after Venerable.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, sorry.
Venerable.
No problem. So
Kamal
this is
Siri
my last part. Sorry, this is my last part to remind you all these things. Say before coming tomorrow Dharma practice. Say I'm doing Dharma practice tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Don't wait there. Don't postpone. Right there saying before the coming of tomorrow's Dharma practice, there's a danger for the death of today to arrive without deceiving yourself with your own foolish thoughts. If you want to practice, start from today onward. Just to practice right now. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Sorry, interrupting, Bande.
Okay. Now, Venerable Kamal Siri, Venerable Mr. Kamal Siri, is now we have already talked about the early Buddhist ideas about the death and favorable rebirth. And now I know that in certain sutras like Gilana Sutra and Anathapindiko Vada Sutta, that also, those sutras are also talking about the death and the near-death experiences and everything. So, Venerable, please let us know your thoughts and ideas and share it with us. Thank you.
First of all, I can see someone raised hand. It is name is Trikunamali Anand. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see it. Very sorry. Just I am listener here.
Otherwise, it is.
Sorry, Venerable. Sorry.
Happy to see you here, and you are waiting for us.
I think in the future programs, he would be participating with us with the panel too.
Yeah, that is big benefit. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Then all of the venerables and dear friends, then we were listening to the nice explanations. Then when I was listening to Rinpoche, the Lamaji, it made to me think about the Milarepa zone. How he talk about the death with happy mind and with pleasure mind. And his villain was very silenced death without knowing anyone. And now I like to again talk about the Gilana Sutta in Pali text because I can see some similarities with the Sutta and the Death Book of Tibet or Bardo. Therefore, I like to explain or get some ideas from that Sutta. And again, I hope some comments from the Lama Ji and the Bhante Sutadhara too. And again, the Bhante Ananda, the Mahanayaka Theru, he also one of great translator, Tripitaka translator in Sri Lanka. Then he have good knowledge about the sutras. According to this Gilana Sutta, the Mahanama, one of relative for Buddha, who is from the same clan, came and asked this question from the Buddha, how a discerning lay follower who is deceased in pain, several ill should be instructed by another discerning lay follower. That was the question. How do we help to someone who near to die? Near to die. Then the Buddha's answer was the number one is be reassured that you are endowed with verified confidence in the awakened one or Buddha. And second one is verified confidence in Dhamma. Third one in Sangha. And fourth, you have virtue that are appealing to the noble ones. After that, the Buddha asked from the Mahanama, for anyone, to ask the person who nearly to die this question. Are you concerned for your mother and father? If they say yes, then we have to advise to them, you may, dear friend, are subject to death. If you feel concern for your mother and father, you are still going to die. If you don't feel concern for your mother and father, you are still going to die. It would be good if you abandoned concern for your mother and father. That is the advice Buddha has given to the person who nearly to the death. How he have to prepare for that. Same way, we have to ask that question about the wife and children. After that, if they say, now it would be good if you abandon concern for your wife and children. If they abandoned it, then we have to ask that question, are you concerned for the 5 strings of human sensuality. That is for about this life and next life. If anyone have abundant with this human sensuality, they like to take rebirth again in human life. If they like though if they enjoy with human sensuality, and if they like to take birth in next life as a human, then Buddha said we have to advise to them like this way: friend, divine sensual pleasure are more splendid and more refined than human sensual pleasures. It would be good if, having reside your mind above human sensual pleasure, you set it on the devas of four great kings, or first four heavenly realms. That is the advice in the sutta to give the people who have desire for human life. Then after that, it is continue to the other step by step to other heavenly worlds. Then if the person who nearly to die set his mind to this heavenly life, then Buddha asked to advise to them the Brahma realm is better than human world. Therefore, set on the Brahma world, the mind. That is the next step. Then if we can set his mind on Brahma world, then after that, we can advise to him the Buddha said that it would be good if, having raised your mind above the Brahma world, you brought it to the seasons of self-identity, seasons of the self-identity. That is, I think, according to this sutta, step by step, it is explained step by step how developed the mind of the person who near to death, and finally it advised to how to attain first step of the Nibbana or Sotapanna. Then that is the teaching from the original teachings of the Pali text. Then I like to get some comments from the Lamaji. It is comparing with the Death Book of Tibet. I can't see him.
Oh yeah, you're asking me. So I think I'm not sure that I did not hear all the conversation just recently. I didn't hear it.
Okay. Then
Yeah, Venerable, I think even the ones who are not that much familiar with Tibetan tradition, like us, the Sri Lankan monks, we have heard and read the Tibetan Book of Death, which talks about something like the one who is facing to the situation of death would be step by step conducted by a spiritual master from lower realms to higher realms. I think that would be the essence of the Tibetan Book of Death. I think Venerable Kamal Siri is asking if that's the same thing in the Gilana Sutta he right now explained is the same or similar.
Oh, I see. Yeah, even the Tibetan death process, the last time the Sungri Rinpoche, like Siling Tongkor Rinpoche talks about death process, but introducing to by High Lama, we call Poa, right? We have a special name called Poa. Poa means you are like a taking to, the power by Lama, you are taking rebirth better. It's not own power. So this is difficult, 100% difficult to accept it, but that process I accept it. But the power is very much depend on power of who doing it. So this is not 100% reliable. But yes, we do have that kind of techniques. Yes.
Yes, Venerable, you can continue, I think.
I think my explanation is that then it is better if we go to the question and answer session and discussion.
Well, just before that, I just want to add a little bit, just something that when Venerable Darge concluded with that the last stanza, that I just remembered the parallel in what is called the Baddekaratta Vagga in Majjhima Nikaya, that is Baddekaratta Sutta itself. It says that the Ajjeva Kiccang Atappang, today you have to get your business done. Kojanya Maranang Sue. Who knows whether there is going to be tomorrow. And there is the Nahino Sangarantena Mahasenena Machuna. We have no any covenant, any agreement with the Mara with so many battalions. So we have to get our work done today. It is bringing our attention into this very moment. That Venerable Darge also mentioned something similar. That I just like that parallel. So just to mention that, and also I think it would be helpful that if we just explain something about that in our each tradition, that how we are doing these ceremonies, and then how those things help people to handle this situation. Also of course the person who dies, and also the person people who lives behind because of that person's death, and then they are grieving. Then well, these are both very important aspects that from those aspects, I think we can learn from each other.
Yes. Thank you, Venerable Sutra. And I think if Venerable Nakagaki wants to make any comment on this from Japanese tradition or tradition.
Yeah. Sure. So, then just a few minutes. Well, thank you for asking me, first of all. But yeah, for Japanese, I mean, especially like a Pure Land tradition that we have. I mean, it's like I don't know, for some reason from Chinese and Japanese Buddhist, we tend to have kind of a specialized Buddha. It's like if you have I just have a surgery, right? So I have to go to the certain doctor to get better treatment. So in a way, there is the Buddha is specialized for the compassion of the especially the deathbed, which is like Amitabha, Amida together with a Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and then the how do you call in Seishi Bodhisattva? There's another one for the I don't know Sanskrit terms. That's right. But then
Vaishnav Guru or Shittigarbha, is that?
No, the other one. There's a stuff. There's the wisdom side of the Amitabha, but if you have a three Buddha, but yeah, Sanskrit term I don't use much for his. So if I come up in my mind, I'll tell you later. Okay, but in any case, when the deathbed, when even like a ceremony in a Kamakura period, or the Japanese parts, when somebody was about to die, they're lying in the bed, and then but then connect to the some kind of strings together with the statue of the Buddha, especially Amitabha, and then so it's just so your mind is always of Amida, and so that so you don't go any other places, but yet Amida should be specialized for to save all beings, and then because of the 48 vows that he create, and and then in the part of what do you call it? Well, kind of everyday practice actually for the Pure Land tradition that we always say Amitabha or Namo Amitabha. So that's kind of a keep remembering. So because of death, you never know when it comes. So in a way, if you're waiting for the death to come, it may be no time to do anything. But yet, if you practice every day for saying the name or even thinking of the Buddha's qualities and so forth, then that will bring the sort of like kind of always ready to die, but at the same time meaning because of the death, you can see the life kind of separate differently. Actually, well, since you mentioned about I had the surgery, but then even that surgery itself, that kind of interesting that was actually my first surgery ever had. So it was a very interesting way to think, how, of course, this one, the one I have is my right arm and actually right shoulder. So, but this one is not life-threatening, but yet, that any surgery could be, dangerous possibly. You never know the heart problem might happen or something like, maybe you might stand up during the surgery or the light stops or electricity gone or whatever, maybe doctor make possible mistakes and stuff like that, all those things. So there's the kind of a sense of thinking like before we have, going to the surgical procedure, then, sometimes they let patient alone. So it's in a way just preparing in a way that you try to calm down your mind, but at the same time, yeah, interesting to think that way. Then you have different thoughts of what we should be doing, and but then every day, so the death meditation itself is, I guess, the practice in some of the Zen tradition as well, but it's actually bring you the value of life, how fresh, fragile that our life is, then each life, you never know when the death's gonna come, but then when that comes, and sometimes people are not ready, and then sorry, your time is up, but maybe not ready. So, but in a way, every day or every time you try to be ready and to be able to accept the death as a part of the life that we have, then the preparing the death itself is really, in a way, preparing the living as well. Because living is always come with a death, right? there's nobody if they are living, so which means always they have some kind of the death together. So in a way, this bring you the what do you call it, find the meaning of life. At the same time, that life is always connected to that, like a birth and death together, not like a birth itself, not the death itself. So it's always together. And so, death without the life is impossible too, right? And then, so as the life without the death is impossible. So it's always dealing with the death and life as a kind of a same kind of way that, so thinking of the death is always thinking of the meaning of life, and then the meaning of life. If you're really thinking of the meaning of life, you always face to the death too. Then you can start realizing how your life is going to be. So anyway, so there are many parts of the Amitabha or the Avalokiteshvara is kind of related to the compassion to bring the comfort in the moment of the death, but at the same time, also there's some painting. If you see the painting before, probably the Chinese place, there's a like Amitabha, the Buddha Amida in the center from the sky, on the crowd, coming with the Avalokiteshvara and then the other Buddha, Bodhisattvas of the wisdom, and coming down with the different Buddhas and even like musicians, all those, the people, the coming down from the skies. And so that's actually the one that welcoming the people to come to the Pure Land. Pure Land represent the land of enlightenment, basically. And so that's something that, when it comes to the death or funeral, even like you're talking about some ritual, then that when we come to the funeral service or memorial service, we always focus on Amitabha, the compassion of Amida. And that's also one of the kind of main sort of practice in a part of the Japanese Buddhist or Chinese Buddhist, I believe. So is that good enough? I didn't prepare to, of course, I'm happy to share some of the, tutorials and so forth, but next time, if I have a chance to do. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I think,
I'll
thank you. Yeah, I think what Venerable Kamalsiri explained about Gilana Sutta and what explained by Venerable Nakagaki goes parallel together to lead one's own consciousness towards higher level by focusing on something positive, compassionate, and higher divinely realms or bodhisattvas or Buddha. So I think if there is any other question or anything, we can focus on them. If not, monks can continue the discussion so that others can get benefited out of it. Since actually we are almost running out of time now. If there is any question, please raise your hand and ask.
Maybe just one, because like a Theravada traditions, of course, in a part of Mahayana, there are many different Buddhas, like including Amida and then the other Bodhisattvas and so forth. How do you see those things? Another kind of questions that I have for the, in for Mahayana part, of course, the Shakyamuni is always part of it, but then the Theravada traditions tend to be not to include much of other, bodhisattvas, or, of course, that's kind of different tradition in one way, but at the same time, I just more curious how you see like other kind of Buddha as, represented by Mahayana or even like Vajrayana as well.
Kamalasiరి
Yeah.
can.
It's okay. But Dhammaroka, are you going to say something?
No, I asked you to answer.
In Theravada tradition also, we talking about the other Buddhas who 28 Buddhas before before Sakyamuni Buddha, and several Bodhisattvas.
Okay.
But especially the Maitri Bodhisattva, next Buddha, future Buddha.
Yeah.
But in Pali text, just only talking about the next Buddha, Maitri Buddha, the next Buddha, but there is no any other names in original Pali text. But according to Theravadi tradition also, it is except the it is timeless universe. There are unlimited Buddhas were in past and in future also. But in this realm, in the space which we know, but otherwise this is we also accept that concept, the Buddha Shastra, or Pali word is Buddha Ketta, the Ketta. Then there must be any other Buddha Shastras in limitless space. Then in this moment also, there must be Buddhas. But we not need to think about that because it is something else. we can't make any communicate with them. It also, even though we communicate with those Buddhas, they also teach us same thing.
Sure.
Yeah, the same path.
They are Buddha, yes.
Yes, because of the Buddhas. Yeah. I think this concept not different from anybody's tradition in the world. Just only thing is our language barriers and cultural differences we can see. It is, I don't want to see the differences. It is the cultural diversity. Yeah, sometimes in Chinese bodhisattvas look like Chinese people. And Tibetan bodhisattvas look like Tibetan people, and South Asians bodhisattvas and Buddhas look like South Asian people. But their spirit is same. There is it is not belongs to any race, any tradition, or any culture. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because of the most of the this is the way Theravadi, the Buddhist philosophy, when we talk about the Buddhist philosophy, the Theravadi philosophies, mostly we talking about the philosophical things. But practically the people, they are in the society, they have different practice. As example, some people practice insight meditation. That is something in different way. Mostly the Sotadhara focus to that way. Today when he speak, they explain this thing. But some people practice about Anusati, concentrate the mind of the Buddhas and the Devas and Bodhisattvas. I think majority of people in Sri Lanka and Thailand or Myanmar, the Theravadian countries, they mostly practice their willing is take a rebirth when the Maitri Buddha or future Buddha is alive. Yeah. And they like to join with to his group and listen to his Dhamma and attend to Nibbana in that time. Yeah. That is the majority.
I think, sorry to disturb a wonderful discussion, but our time is now getting over. So we can continue with the same topic or similar topics, sharing each other's ideas and thoughts and teachings in our different traditions to seek the real teaching and experience it to practice it. So I think I got a notice now.
Oh, where did he go? Did he disappear? Or
Yes.
Sorry.
No, again he appear.
oh, he's back now, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
What happened one day?
So
right.
I think Venerable Sutadhara would conclude today's program with, we have to grateful and thankful to our teachers too, who, from generation to generation handed down this vast knowledge of the Dhamma and our traditions. Thanking them all, I invite Venerable Sutadhara to conclude today's program in short.
Thank you, Venerable Dhammaloka, that today we were just bringing the attention of our audience to just see how these two traditions, the Tibetan, and in the larger way, it is the Mahayana tradition and the Theravada tradition, that still we talked about how we practically try to handle this the near-death experience, and then how to help the person who is dying, because it's this all these currently we face these kind of experiences too, that when we are invited to palliative care, or there's it's like very seriously, and who are ill and who are waiting for death. So it's always very important that we need to discuss these kind of things within the circle of Buddhist practitioners, not only the monks and nuns, because it's very important for all of us to know about this. And this discussion went around these two, and then finally all these all traditions bring the same teachings, the more emphasis on the same teachings, that is okay, develop compassion, develop loving kindness, develop both then develop your mindfulness, and then always don't waste your time, then just be focused on your practice, because doesn't matter whether you forget it or not, it's we are going to experience this. So just always all Buddhist traditions remind this to everyone, and to ourselves including. So that's that when there, and then if we could just compare, like two traditions in detail, it would be an interesting exercise, but we have so many things to handle, but it is, I think we all touched certain very important aspects of each tradition by just giving some short presentations. And then thank you all for just staying this long, maybe 1.5 hours, listening to all the presenters, and also the presenters who prepared their presentations, and also especially to I want to thank Venerable Dhammalok and the Connecticut Buddhist Council just bringing this forming this forum for all of us to meet together. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
You. May the blessings of the Buddha be with you all. Sadhu, sir.
Okay, have a good night and have a good day.
Nice to meet you.
Everyone, see you next month.
See you next month.
Are you tired, Madhi?